Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here, and I am back with another person doing big time things in the insurance industry. I'm joined by Joe Pate, who is also known as Medicare Joe. He's built a super impressive agency in Maryland, if I have that right. Is that correct?
Rhode Island.
Rhode
Rhode
Island.
Island.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. See,
Close enough though.
where I live in the country, they're the same thing, but no, no, just
Yeah.
kidding. But out in Rhode Island, he's done an amazing job with his agency, and he's just got a ton of value to kind of bring and kind of extract. So I'm super excited to have a conversation with him. First off, Joe, how's the day going? How's post AEP going at the time of recording this?
Post AEP is going well. This is our first cool down week, so we stay pretty busy year round, but it's definitely an uptick during AEP. So our agents are, kind of like taking that little break off, but still producing, which is always a good thing.
Yep,
So it's going well.
that's always the good mixture, right? Where it's a little bit of a slowdown, but you don't want stoppage by any means.
Right.
So I'm super interested to kind of talk about, anytime I'm able to talk to somebody in the industry about that's built an agency that's, done really well and grown a really strong brand, book of business like what your agency has. There's so many nuggets that can come from that for the audience. For anybody that might not know you specifically, can you take a couple of minutes and kind of give us the introduction of how you got into the space? Like, how did it all begin for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a unique story for sure. One that can take a long time, but we'll kind of give you the smaller version of that. But ultimately, I got into the insurance industry while I was still in college. So I was a sophomore going into my junior year, and I was actually studying to be an accountant and
Mm,
got an internship with an insurance company. They were doing ACA, under 65 insurance and pairing it with ancillary products. And I interned there for that's all it was supposed to be. I was more of an appointment setter, if you will, someone that was scheduling everybody else to go out on the appointments for about 3 or 4 months in the summertime. And when I was getting ready to go back to school, they asked me if I wanted to stay on, somehow part time. Now I'm in Rhode Island, and company I was working for was in Massachusetts, so it was about a hour and a half ride to get there every
mm.
day. So. Um, my goal was just to kind of work remote for them. So what I did while I was in college, we were staying in a duplex type of apartment style, and I lived on one side, and on the other side was a couple of my buddies. They had an extra spare bedroom that they weren't able to rent out. So I rented that out as an office and basically was running my appointment setting for the company out of that bedroom. So I did that for a couple of, well, for about a year until the summer came around. And that's when I started to really go out on appointments. At this point, I'm an LOA Christian. So
Mhm.
I was under somebody else and basically getting leads and going out on these appointments and selling ancillary with ACA plans. That's how I really got into the insurance industry, which just kind of fell into it, have no, family background to it at all. And kind of just took a leap of faith and was like, this seems pretty cool. I like the sales aspect of it. And it turned out to work out pretty well for me.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny to me how many people that are very successful in our space never really planned to be in it. If especially when you go back in their roots and things like that, it kind of a lot of times happens accidentally for a lot of people, and they don't really know that much about it. They end up in it through one way or another, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, this is amazing. This is an amazing industry. This is an amazing business." So, how long ago was this that this whole thing transpired? By the way, an hour and a half commute each way. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was 19 when I first got into insurance. So um, after my junior year of appointment setting, let's just call it for a year's time there, that whole summer, yeah, I was commuting all around Massachusetts. So from where I was living at the time to the other side of Mass, I mean, some of those appointments were 2.5 hours out, three
Mm,
hours out, and just kind of being that road warrior, sitting down with people, and that's really how I learned the whole insurance business and the sales aspect of it and how to, qualify, present, and close. So yeah, I did that as of that was 2017 when I started. Um, No, I'm sorry, that was 2015 when I had started going through all of that as an LOA. And then I went from being an LOA to out on my own. Sometimes life just hands you different, avenues to pick from, and I picked the leap of faith of going out on my own. So that was in 2017. And then I started Medicare, doing Medicare. I had no experience in Medicare, just the under 65 market in 2018, the beginning of 2018. And
Got
that's
it.
where Medicare Joe, now, an actual insurance agency, was just me in another bedroom of mine. And at that point, me and my wife had bought a duplex, and we lived on one side, rented out the other side, and I was running that office out of my spare bedroom again. So that was just another leap of faith that we took, and that's when I started to get into Medicare. I had no experience there before that. Had experience in insurance and the under 65 market, but knew about Medicare, knew the residual income that came with Medicare sales, and really just had to figure out the marketing aspect of it. That was the only thing that was missing at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, talk about a little bit of let's talk about the branding side of kind of what you guys have done with the agency. From what I can tell, doing a little bit of research, it seems like you guys have a very, very strong local brand there in Rhode Island, which is huge, right? For any agency like that. Talk about like the branding side of things. What do you feel like helped establish your agency to be well known, attract clients to you, everything like that? What do you feel like has helped your agency in that regard?
Yeah. I mean, the Medicare Joe brand in itself was something that evolved eventually. It just came from clients calling me Medicare Joe. And I'm like, that actually has a pretty good ring to it. Let's run with it.
Sure.
But we're nationwide, so we're in all 50 states, and most of
Okay.
our sales are phone sales. So our agents here, we're talking with people in all 50 states every day. So in terms of like the local branding, we do have a lot of TV commercials here running locally, which has helped on the Rhode Island and local state sales. But I think just having something simplistic, something that, can stick with people, obviously resonates with people. And a huge thing that's helped our nationwide, not only branding, but let's like trustworthiness, right? So like
Hmm.
social proof is Google My Business. I mean, we've got
Hmm.
like over 100 reviews on there now, and I'm sorry, 800 reviews on there now. And it's just a game changer when you can go back and say, hey, take a minute, Google our company, see what we're all about, and then let's move forward past that objection you had. And that helps a lot with the phone sales aspect because, when we're talking with somebody that's in Georgia or in Texas and,
Hmm.
we're up here in Rhode Island, they want to know, a little bit more about you and who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think when you can kind of isolate that model, right, where you have systems and processes in place where you can really sell coast to coast, it opens up so many unique possibilities for you and for your agents and for your business. Talk a little bit about like what kind of emphasis you guys place on your agents for training. Like what do you really focus on when you're bringing a new person in, let's say, to be an agent in your office?
Yeah, I mean, I love this question. I'll start from the top. So, I mean, when we're bringing on an agent, and we have 6 agents here in office, including myself, so 5 that are with us. We brought on a lot of people that just never, made it through for
Hmm.
whatever reason, right? But from the beginning, I try to find people that in any type of, job posting, or if it's a referral from one of our employees here, somebody that has had some type of discipline with something, whether it's work or outside of their work, like something that they're disciplined to do. And I use this on another interview, but a couple of our agents are in a band. And they practice
Mm.
every single week, and that's
What
their discipline.
what kind of music?
It's like more of like a alternative rock mixed with punk rock, if you will.
There
I've
we
asked the
go.
question several times, and I never get a straight answer, so that's how I explain it.
So
But
so Medicare Nirvana, that's what I'm hearing.
yeah, yeah, I think that's probably the closest thing that we can get from it. But when someone has a discipline in not even in work, but just in some type of hobby, I know that they're going to be disciplined here. And that's one of the biggest things for agents is you have to show up every single day.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen overnight, is what I tell a lot of my team. A lot of the conversations we have don't generate revenue today. It's, future sales, people that maybe not be in the window to write business today. And I call that tomorrow's money. You're having the conversation today, and you're going to end up selling them in a month, 2 months, 3 months from now when they're in the window to sign up for a plan. Speaking in terms of T65, appointments. But yeah, I mean, really, I'm looking for someone that's disciplined. I'm looking for somebody that has had some sort of sales experience or enjoys the philosophy of what sales is, winning over the client, earning a client, whatever you want to call it. Um, there has to be a passion there because that's what we do every single day. We're helping people, but a lot of it, there is sales techniques. We do a lot of cross-selling where we require banking information. We require objection handling. It's not just enrollment into a Medicare Advantage plan, right?
Right.
So they need to have some sense of how sales works. And when they're onboarded here, like we're a huge advocate for being a team player. I have the scoreboards in the office where agents can see where they rank, but the biggest goal that we have to achieve every month is our team goal. And they can see that on a status bar on our scoreboard. And that is the first and foremost goal that we hit because if we don't and people are just hitting individual goals, it doesn't really do the team any well. So,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned cross-selling. I always love talking about it because it is it is such a wide spread thing in the industry that so many agents just don't even not even that they're not good at cross-selling, they don't even attempt to cross-sell other
mhm.
products to their clients and that kind of thing. What do you feel like allows you guys to be so proficient at that? Is it mainly just being committed to bringing it up, or is it more than that?
It's definitely more than that. I mean, bringing it up is obviously part of it, right? I mean, if you don't bring it up, they can never answer the question if they want it
Sure.
or not. But there's definitely a process behind it. So our team here, we have part of our onboarding and training is to introduce them when they're green to the insurance industry. We introduce them to the product with the ancillary products. So they never see it just as Medicare Advantage versus a Medicare supplement plan. Like they understand that's how it works, but they see the value behind why we write cancer products, why we write heart and stroke, hospital indemnity, et cetera. So, when they've never seen it any other way, there's no reason for them not to want to bring it up. When I first got into the insurance industry, that's all I ever knew, so that at that point, I would have no reason to write an ACA plan without ancillary because I never even knew that was a thing, when I got into insurance. And these products hold tremendous value. So when you mirror the training of bringing on somebody, understanding the value of the ancillary product, why the client needs it, they understand the value of the product, and now that's part of their pitch, if you will, to the client and why they actually recommend having that product. We don't really have a problem with people bringing it up because they want to bring it up at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
part of their
I
process.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's so key what you said there, right? There's so many agents that they're trained specifically on the core products, as we'll say, right? Like the Advantage plans, the Medicare supplement plans. And maybe they're just not trained to where they're connected in unison, like you said, right? With the ancillary products. So I think that makes so much sense, right? Because if they're taught together from the beginning, then that's what the agent's going to know, and
Hmm.
I think that makes all the sense in the world. I always love to ask this question for somebody that does a lot of cross selling, does a lot of ancillary sales. If you had to pick two ancillary products to keep, let's say product type, cancer, dental, hospital indemnity, short-term care, etc. Let's say you had to pick two and all the rest vanished, they didn't exist anymore, what would you pick?
Yeah. Well, excluding the retirement planning, which I'm sure we'll eventually get into as part of
Yes,
this interview,
of
but
course.
I mean, it definitely is based on which way they're going to go. So if they're going the Medicare Advantage route, we're big advocates on hip and cancer. Like that's our go-to products, and part of cross-selling is simplifying it for the client. When you start to overcomplicate something, no decision ever gets made, right? Because they just don't know, this specific, when you try to make it sound like this is, what this does, and you go into the in depths of the whole benefit, it's a cancer plan. It's a hospital indemnity plan. That's what they are. These are why we recommend them. So simplifying it. I would say those are the two on the Medicare Advantage side. And then for Med Supp, cancer and a home care recovery care plan is typically what we write, what we see the most value in personally for me and what we train here.
Love it.
Our med
Love
our
it.
med sub client is going to be more of a higher, typically a higher, net worth client. So the recovery care and home care definitely resonates with them well. They have assets to protect, typically. That's why they're going the Medicare with the supplement route. And cancer, I mean, it's just so many people are diagnosed with it. We file claims on the cancer policies weekly here in our office. And, it's a sad thing to say, but they're paying out to clients. And when clients get a check for 15, 20,000, they're happy. They're
Hmm.
definitely not upset that in a time of need when they're going through something like cancer that they can have some type of, positive news at the end of the day. But one thing you said earlier that I wanted to touch back on is like training people with ancillary sales. I mean, we see it all the time when we're talking with other agencies, et cetera, and they bring on somebody that is given the ancillary training firsthand when they're brought on versus they might have, aged agents there. And they're like, it doesn't make any sense. My new one brings it up on every call, but my older agents,
Hmm.
they're just having a tougher time with it. It's because they were, it's tough to teach an old dog new tricks, right? Like it's that
Absolutely.
whole motto of you have to make the shift and you have to learn those new tricks. But when they're green and they come in that way, that's why we really don't like to hire insurance agents at the end of the day.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think I think it's so much better to hire people that have never been in the industry, they're unlicensed, and you get them licensed. It just there's so much data, right, that backs up that you can mold them from the beginning, right, and
exactly.
in your processes and the way you do things. And yeah, I mean, I think it makes all the sense in the world. Let's shift gears a little bit. You mentioned it a second ago, a little bit on the retirement planning. Let's kind of jump into that a little bit. So, talk about that side of your guys' business and how that and what piece of that kind of makes up what you guys do.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I've always wanted to dive into annuities, retirement planning, and I was always trying to find the perfect partner to partner with. And I did a few years back, and they brought me out. They're out of Maine. They brought me to their event. They have a bunch of fiduciaries that they work with that are Series 65 licensed, so they handle both the annuity side and the AUM side. And I thought it'd be like a perfect fit until I went there and I met with a bunch of people, and I'm like, man, I can do this. Like I should just be the retirement person for our office. And that's what really got me going. I got my 65, went through a whole educational process of, I can tell you that I don't know every little thing about an annuity, and I don't want to. I have somebody for that I can reach out to and gather that information. But what the process that I've built that I love is that it's a way to take a Medicare client and farm that from business we're already writing and we're already paying expenses for the marketing to get in the door. And now we have the retirement plan. That's just an additional product that we can offer to them.
Hmm.
So really that process that we've been doing now for this is technically going to be the first full fiscal year that been writing retirement products. I started writing retirement products June of 2023.
Okay.
But we'll do about 5 million this year in annuity business, 2.5 million in AUM business.
Wow, that's
And
terrific.
that's all off of Medicare clients, no ad spend at all. It's just by having a consistent process of bringing up the questions in a way that makes sense for the client. And that's all farmed through my Medicare team here. So they're heavily compensated to bring that up on the call. So we get them to ask the question, and obviously you have people that are in a window of time where they're transitioning with their healthcare. A lot of folks we talk to are turning 65. They need to get onto Medicare, but they're also transitioning in their financial side as well. They have old 401ks, or maybe they have an account that they're just not happy with. And that's what really brought on the retirement business. Now, to answer the second part of that question was how much does that make up of our revenue? Is that what you asked me? I would say about
Yeah, yeah.
30% of the retirement business makes up our revenue.
Got it.
And
Got
that's
it.
in year one. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
we're
that's
not, we're
that's
not
incredible.
even, yeah, we're not even, I mean, it's definitely been a huge game changer for us in terms of what's the biggest needle mover to like increasing revenue without adding overhead and adding all these different things is just by asking additional questions and, being able to write that. Now, if people aren't able to write that, they farm it out or figure out a way to partner with somebody. But ultimately, if you're not even bringing up the question, you're leaving a ton of revenue on the table for someone that's qualified uh, to act on at that point.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. You mentioned earlier a little bit on marketing. Without giving any crazy secrets away, right? We never try to get anybody to do that necessarily, but like if you were talking to an agent, let's say that's brand new to marketing, right? And let's say they're
Hmm.
trying to run paid ads, for example.
Okay.
What do you feel like is the best place that someone can go to start learning about paid ads in 2024? I always find this an interesting question because, like, we've been running paid ads since I think we started in 2017 or 18 or something like that, and games changed a lot over the years, significantly different now than it was then. And we get this question all the time from agents, right? I want to learn paid ads. What's the best way for me to do that? What would you say to somebody that asked that question?
What I would say is paid ads, you're going to be looking at your social platforms, obviously, Facebook, Google, TikTok. For us, and this is this isn't the best business practice, but I was joking around with a couple of agents the other day, is that our cost per acquisition, we don't really care if it's higher because we're doing so much on the retirement side. Like our
Mm,
whole Medicare marketing budget, we made up and some on the revenue we made from retirement planning. So it's almost like the Medicare business was coming in for nothing at that point. The Medicare marketing, I mean. Now that's not the best business practice, and that's definitely going to be something we're going to look at in 2025 here and change and optimize. But the best, I truly believe that the social platforms is still the best way to achieve marketing in today's world. And I think that, there's ways to go about finding people that are marketers, right? And learning from them. I'm not a marketer, I'll be the first to admit it. I know insurance, I know business and retirement planning. That's pretty much it, right? So our marketing, although I have done it all in-house, I've had a little bit more leniency with expenses and what the cost is for that because we had business before that wasn't, that we had generated revenue before that could fund the marketing on social media platforms. But as far as like a way to go about it is I would just study social media marketing. There's a bunch of programs out there, but I'm not a huge advocate of promoting certain programs unless they've been, vetted, et cetera. But there's some that you can spend money on and get real good techniques out of marketing. But the thing is that a lot of that stuff's always changing too,
hmm
you know?
you need a program that's going to constantly update as the
Yeah,
platform updates is what I was
100%.
is what I've found, because there's some that people can buy and get into, and they were filmed in 2021 and they haven't been changed at all since 2021, so they're almost useless at that point. Not completely, but almost.
It also depends on what the marketing you're looking to do is.
Sure.
Are you the
Yeah.
face of the company? Are you not wanting to be the face of the company? So that would determine on what you're doing with video ads and image ads, et cetera. Are we looking for just plan switches on Medicare Advantage, T65? But so there's a lot that's out there, and I think a lot of people try to get caught up in one thing working well, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yep.
one thing works well until it doesn't. And then you need to shoot a new video, you need to do a different, thing. And then I constantly have our marketing team now. I don't actually manage our Facebook account anymore, but they're always messaging me, "Hey, need a new video. Need a new angle. What do you think we can go with?" And test, 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 test. But a lot of that costs money. And like when you ask me, like, what would you tell an agent that's looking for a marketing thing, like a brand new agent? It's tough to spend a lot of money on that because a lot of it is testing. It's good to kind of figure out the one niche you want to focus on and go like 100% into that until you can expand and test other angles and avenues.
Yeah. I think that's good advice. Let's talk about the event a little bit, right? So I'm sure, if in case anybody that's watching doesn't know, Joe is going to be speaking at an event that myself and Glenn are going to be co-hosting with Chase Gruning, if anybody knows Chase, in February of 2025. Super excited about it. Going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. I've personally never been to Nashville, so it'll be a new experience for me. Talk a little bit about what you're planning. If you already know, what are you planning on teaching on for at that event, Joe?
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna have a great time in Nashville, by the way.
I'm
First time in
excited.
Nashville. It's gonna be fun, man.
I was
I've been
texting.
3 times in the last 3 months, so it's been a
Oh,
good time
nice.
every time I go. But yeah,
I
great.
was texting Chase the other day. I'm like, we need to get a party bus. I demand
Yeah.
this. And he's like,
I'm
yeah,
sure
so
he's all for
yeah.
it. No, but the event I spoke at their event earlier this year, back in August, and it's a first class building, number one, theater and event. It really is, and the people that are going to be speaking at it have just so much value to give, and that's what I loved about the first event is that people really came, learned, took a bunch of nuggets from that event, and were able to implement it almost immediately. Right. And whenever you think
Mhm.
of an event, that's the end goal is for people to come, learn, and implement. But what I'm going to be talking about is I'm going to be talking about our specific process of how we bring on Medicare clients or prospects even, and we vet them to pull retirement planning appointments out of those calls. So mainly what I'm going to go through is I'm going to go through how we've successfully done that process to write 5 million in annuity and another 2.5 in AUM this year and without any marketing costs, right? So when we're talking about paid advertising and the cost of what that is for Medicare specifically, which is a residual income product, right? So a lot of what you get paid is on the back end with the Medicare sales. Well, that's the hope. This is a way to immediately increase your revenue so then you can increase ad spend on marketing for Medicare. Like that's a perfect way to kind of segue that. But
Mhm.
mainly what I go over in my presentation will be illustrated at the event. So from start to finish, from bringing on a Medicare prospect, our client fact finder, we go through with that Medicare prospect how we qualify and set that as an appointment for retirement planning discovery call is what we call them, where we can see if they're a good fit to actually have that call.
Mhm.
And then I actually go through my process on the retirement side. So, when you're thinking about the retirement planning aspect in Medicare, there's two ways that you can take advantage of the revenue from it. One is by partnering with someone that does it and getting a comp split. The other is by just doing it yourself, right? So in at the event in February, I'm going to go over how we actually do that for people that are interested in learning that side of the business. How we go through our 3 appointment process with a prospect, what we do on each one of those calls, and then basically at the end summarize how you can do that on your own, the steps to actually start implementing that on your own, or the steps to partner with somebody to do it. And it doesn't have to be me. I don't care if people do it, with me or not. The goal is that people understand that this is something that they can do and go do it with somebody, somebody
Mhm.
that obviously has the credentials to do it, but it's just a revenue generator that people need to take advantage of because you're already having those conversations. It's nothing extra for any more work you need to do, any more overhead you need to bring on. It's work you're already doing day to day, and it really can generate a lot more revenue for the business.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. We're super excited about the event, you guys. Not only is Joe going to be there and give a ton of value with that topic and that presentation that he just mentioned there. There's going to be all kinds of people speaking. It's really jam packed in terms of the lineup, right? So I don't even remember who
I
everybody
saw
is.
another contact card you guys put out or whatever image. I'm like, wow, there's a
Yeah.
ton of people at this event. This is
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
There's like 10 people speaking.
It's a stacked speaking lineup. So of course we have
It
Chase
is.
speaking. We have myself, we have Glenn Shelton, Coach Michael Burt, we have Tony Holland, who's managing Integrity partner, sold multiple businesses to Integrity for huge payouts. Justin Thomas, who's one of the smartest advertising guys, marketing guys in the space. Of course, we have Joe. We have Emily Gruning, who's Chase's wife, helps him run the business. She's got a lot of value. We have Cody Askins, Galen Hendricks, Patricia St. Louis, Misty Bolt, aka Medicare Misty. There's a lot of really big names, really very interesting people who have achieved success a lot of different ways. So I think there's going to be no shortage of value at this event, and that's the intention. We really hope you
And the
guys
bet
come out.
one thing to mention there too,
Yes,
Christian, is the best thing about this event is the limited seating in that theater.
right.
So like this type of an event and that's the other thing I failed to mention, is so intimate. Like you're really around Tony Holland, who you mentioned earlier, yourself, Chase, like you're really, hip to hip with these people for the 2 days that you're there. And there's just a ton of value, not even at the presenters speaking, but just those conversations that happen on the back end. Being such a small, tight-knit group of people, I think it's like a little over 100 that it maxes out at. I'm not
Mhm.
positive on that. You'll have to fact that statement there. But
It
yeah,
sounds
it's
right.
just a smaller theater, and it's that's the best part about it.
Yeah. Some of my favorite events I've ever been to, I don't know how you feel about this, but they've been smaller groups of people, 100, 125 or less. And so, sometimes when you go to some of these events and there's 1,000 people there or there's 2,000 people there, it's tough, right? There's going to be a lot of people that you might love to meet or connect with, and you can go the entire event and you'll never see them, because there's so
Right.
many people there. And so, I love smaller, intimate events like this. And I think that's a great point, that anybody that you will want to connect with, you'll have really all the opportunity in the world to be able to do so because it's going to be smaller, it's going to be more intimate, and we're all going to be together.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with that. The smaller the event, the better when it comes to getting value out of it. As an agent or agency owner, that's really what you're looking for. You're looking to have a chance to have a conversation with Christian, Chase, myself, or somebody like that, and not have to go out of your way to even find them, at the
Yeah.
event. So it's definitely a preferred style for me. I know I'm speaking at this one, but when I go and attend them anyway, that's what I like.
Yep. I love it. Guys, by the time this video drops, if you do end up seeing it the day that it comes out, we are still going to be doing 50% off the tickets. There's going to be a coupon code in the description of the video and the coupon code is 7-figure 50, all spelled out. Like I said, it's in the description of the YouTube video, so go check it out. And that'll give you 50% off the ticket until the end of today, essentially at the day this will be posted. So make sure to get in on that. Again, like Joe said, the seating is limited, and once it's sold out, it's sold out. So we'd love to have you guys come out. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think you guys will walk away with a ton of value and nuggets that you can implement into your business and just really kind of propel that growth forward. Joe, if someone wanted to connect with you, if they got all the way to the end here and they wanted to connect with you, where's the best place you think?
Yeah, the best place would be to visit our MedicareJoe.org website or retirewithjoe.com, depending on how you want to connect. And there's contact information on those pages there. But the other way to get in touch with me would be on Facebook or Instagram, and you can direct message me. I'm sure this is going to probably be shared on a bunch of those platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody that has any questions or wants to learn more about really the retirement planning, that's kind of where I'm at this point in my life is teaching external agents how this stuff works. I know there's so much value in it outside of my internal agency, obviously, but just letting them tap into the idea of how this works and how they can implement it in their own companies.
I love it. Well, thank you, brother, for doing this. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the conversation. We'll have to do another one soon. And yeah, I certainly appreciate your time.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. Look forward to meeting and seeing you again in Nashville.
I love it. Guys, if you watched all the way to the end, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back with another one with someone doing big time things next time in the insurance space. So thanks, everybody. See you next time.